Something extraordinary had happened in the Winans family, and people could not stop talking about it. Bishop Marvin Winans, a gospel legend known all over the world, had honored his mother in a way that shocked even his closest fans. This was not just another family gathering or a small church event. It turned into one of the most emotional, surprising, and unforgettable moments in gospel history. You won't believe how the evening had unfolded. And let me tell you, this was not an ordinary tribute. This was how a simple plan became a story that carried both love and controversy. Bishop Marvin Winans had always been in the spotlight, whether for his powerful sermons, his iconic voice, or his role in the legendary Winans family. But this time, the reason people were talking about him was very different. Instead of promoting an album or delivering a sermon, Marvin had chosen to honor the most important person in his life, his mother. And the way he did it left people emotional, inspired, and curious. But here's the shocking part. It was not only about celebrating her life. It also opened doors to family truths that had never been spoken out loud before. The event had started in the most beautiful way. Family members and close friends gathered, and everyone thought it would just be another emotional evening filled with songs and tributes. But this is where it gets interesting. From the moment Marvin stood on stage, people noticed something different. His voice carried more than gratitude. It carried weight, almost as if he was ready to share something deeper than anyone expected. His words were not just about a mother's love. They were filled with memories, lessons, and even hints about struggles the family had faced together. What makes the story different is that Marvin did not keep it light. He let his emotions guide him, and in front of everyone, he opened the door to the past. As he spoke, he remembered the early years when the family had very little. He described how his mother had raised them with strict discipline, endless faith, and unconditional love. He talked about her sacrifices, staying awake during long nights when her children practiced music, encouraging them when they wanted to give up, and reminding them to always keep God at the center of their lives. Many people in the audience already knew the Winans family as gospel legends. But in that moment, Marvin showed that behind their success was a woman who gave everything and asked for nothing. But the craziest part was not just the emotional tribute. It was the way Marvin carefully hinted at moments that the public had never known. He spoke about nights when doubt filled the house, about days when financial struggles nearly broke their spirit, and about how his mother stood as a shield to protect the family. Destiny took an unexpected turn when he mentioned that some of their hardest times were never shared with the world. But those silent struggles became the reason they learned resilience and faith. For the first time, people saw not just a perfect gospel family, but a real family that had endured pain behind the spotlight. The audience was silent, some holding back tears, others nodding as if they were finally understanding what it had taken for the Winans to reach where they were. Marvin's eyes were wet, and his pauses between words made the moment even heavier. Fans watching live and those on social media later felt the same weight. They realized that this was more than a tribute. It was a confession, a rare and raw glimpse into a family that had always kept its private life hidden. And here's where it gets even more intriguing. Marvin did not give away every detail. He only gave pieces, leaving everyone wanting to know more about what had truly happened in the past. By the end of this part of the celebration, people were already whispering, wondering, and even debating. Was Marvin preparing to reveal untold stories of the family? Was he pointing to a side of the Winans' history that had never been shown before? The tribute started as an emotional event, but it was slowly turning into something bigger, something that carried both beauty and controversy. The celebration carried on, and as Marvin spoke more, the atmosphere grew heavier with emotions. People had expected songs and simple words of gratitude, but what they were witnessing was far deeper. He had started to take everyone on a journey through the past, one that many had never heard before. You won't believe how every sentence revealed something new. Let me tell you, it was not just a tribute. It was almost like Marvin was finally letting people peek behind the curtain of the Winans family history. He continued to share personal stories that painted pictures of long nights and hidden sacrifices. He remembered moments when his siblings were young and uncertain about their future. There were times, he said, when music felt like a burden more than a blessing, and doubt had filled the house. But this is how their mother had kept them strong, reminding them that faith could carry them further than fear. The way Marvin's voice shook as he spoke told everyone that these memories were real, painful, and yet beautiful in the way they had shaped the family. But here's the shocking part. Marvin hinted that the Winans' journey had not been as smooth as the public always believed. He told small stories of rejection when people in the industry had turned them away. He described how his mother had prayed with them even when bills piled up, and how she had given up her own dreams so her children could keep theirs alive. The audience was stunned. This is where it gets interesting because most fans always thought the Winans family lived a life of music, fame, and success from the start. But Marvin showed a side of truth that no one expected. One of the most emotional moments came when Marvin's siblings, BB and Cece, stood together to perform a song for their mother. The entire room grew silent as their voices filled the air. People said later that you could feel the weight of their love in every note. Their mother's eyes had tears, and even Marvin stood at the side holding his head down, overcome by emotions. What makes this story different is that this was not just a performance. It was a living testimony of how their mother's strength had given them the voices that touched the world. The craziest part came when Marvin added stories that seemed almost too personal for a public event. He shared about nights when they had been so close to giving up when the family felt divided by stress, and how his mother never let them fall apart. Destiny took an unexpected turn when he admitted that even at the height of their success, fame had brought pressure that tested their unity. His words made it clear that the Winans family was not untouchable. They were human, shaped by struggles just like anyone else. By this time, social media had already picked up on the event. Clips from the tribute were spreading quickly, and fans were reacting in real time. Many said they had never seen Marvin so vulnerable. Others began to question what else might be hidden beneath the family's polished public image. But here's the shocking part. Marvin never explained everything in full. He left gaps, small hints that something more had been there. Stories that still remain untold. The tribute continued with more family members and close friends stepping forward. Some shared how moments had mentored them in their own lives, teaching faith and courage. Others spoke about how she had guided young singers, reminding them that talent alone was not enough. It was faith that made the difference. These testimonies only added to the depth of the evening, showing that her influence stretched far beyond her own household. And yet the audience could not forget the things Marvin had hinted at. The quiet struggles, the silent sacrifices, the parts of the story that were never fully explained. By the end of this part of the celebration, there was no doubt that something bigger was happening. It was not just about honoring a mother. It was about revealing a legacy that had been shaped by unseen battles. Fans left with questions on their minds. What else was there to know about the Winans family? Why did Marvin only share half-truths? And most of all, would the rest of the story ever come to light? As the evening moved forward, the celebration began to feel less like an event and more like a revelation. What had started as a tribute was slowly turning into a story that carried mystery, emotion, and controversy all at once. You won't believe how every new moment revealed a hidden piece of the Winans family history. Let me tell you, it was clear that Marvin had carefully designed this night to honor his mother while also opening doors to truths that had never been shared publicly. The venue itself carried weight. Marvin had not chosen a random location for the celebration. Instead, he had chosen a place tied deeply to the family's past, a place that had witnessed their earliest rehearsals and most personal gatherings. Guests noticed photographs lined across the entrance showing the family through the years, moments of joy, moments of struggle, and memories of faith. Walking through that gallery, people felt like they were stepping into the Winans family's private world. This is how Marvin made sure the celebration was more than just speeches and performances. It was a journey into decades of sacrifice and love. But here's the shocking part. When Marvin invited close family friends and old students of his mother to speak, their stories revealed even more about her life. Some talked about how she had mentored young singers who were too afraid to perform. Others remembered how she quietly gave food, shelter, and encouragement to people who had nowhere else to turn. These personal testimonies showed that her influence had stretched far beyond her children. This is where it gets interesting because while the world knew her as the mother of